Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, whom this world ignorantly calls God, Bahashem, which means in the name of Yahweh Shai, whom this world ignorantly calls Jesus, Bahashem, in the name of Ruach, which is the Holy Spirit, the Spirit Holy. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well, teaching on the highways and byways in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and freedom to do so. Shalom to the 1/3 part of Israel scattered to the four winds of the earth, which be you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and you Israelites who look like the other nations, but go back to the 12 patriarchs of Israel. Shalom to you, and shalom to the few sisters that's listening and learning in silence as the scriptures say to do so. I'm the brother Tassad Ban Yahweh, coming at you with a quick one in the spirit. Lord's willing, this is edifying. The article reads, Van Buren representative requests seal for divorce filing. Wife alleges sexual misconduct. All right. So, according to an October 21st divorce filing in Crawford County, the wife of Brad Hall, an Arkansas state representative, alleges that he forced her to engage in sexual relationships with other men, even stating one raped her repeatedly. All right, so this man right here, state representative Brad Hall, has requested that his divorce be sealed. All right, in it, his wife claims he coerced her into sex with other men, including one who raped her repeatedly. Okay, the divorce filing also alleges that his wife left their residence out of fear for her safety due to threats, including that he would burn it down if she were there or was granted a house through the divorce. So this man, he has committed, caused her to commit adultery. He has subjected her to violent acts, and he has also threatened her well-being and life if she were to win the house in the divorce. Okay, so that right there would constitute a terrorist threat, and among other crimes, various crimes. As you can see, you see his smile. He's a state representative, so these people should be held to a higher standard, as it were. All right. So this is a lawless man, a son of perdition. All right, a man of sin, not the man of sin, but a man of sin. Okay, the so-called white T man who the Bible describes as the Edomites. Again, it says Representative Hall has since filed 2 motions to seal the record, claiming that the matter involves sensitive personal and family issues. The motion filed by Hall's attorney further states that due to his position as an elected representative, Slovakia, he could face harassment and the publication of private details if the record remains unsealed. So he's seeking to hide what's going on. Okay. Isaiah 29:15. Woe unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel from the Most High, Yahweh, right? And their works are in the dark. And they say, who seeth us and who knoweth us? See? Yeah, so, men like this, their counsel and their work, they seek deep to hide from the Lord. All right? Let's read on. So, through his attorney, through Representative Hall's attorney, it says the response argues that the case should not be sealed. The response. So this would be the opposite side, like the wife's representative says. The response argues that the case should not be sealed simply because one of the parties is an elected official, right? You don't get special privileges, right? It says stating the fact that Brad Hall is an elected official does not entitle him to more privacy than the average person, right? So this person is a person of entitlement. Clearly, he thinks that because he is an elected official that he gets some special privileges. But the judge and the respondents are saying not so. It says every person is required to have a publicly accessible divorce case. Publicly accessible. If anything, there is even more cause for this matter to remain accessible to the public. Further, the response goes on to cite the Arkansas Freedom of Information Act, stating it is vital in a democratic society that public business be performed in an open and public manner, so that the electors shall be advised of the performance of public officials and of the decisions that are reached in public activity and in making public policy. Toward this end, this chapter is adopted, making it possible for them or their representatives to learn, right, and to report fully the activities of their public officials. All right, so that Freedom of Information Act of Arkansas is important to keep in place. So men like Brad Hall here, are held accountable for their actions, and that people can review and make decisions based upon his activities, personal or private. All right, I should say public or private. Representative Brian Evans, the Speaker of the House for Arkansas's House of Representatives, released a statement on the matter. He says that House leadership is aware of the allegations. All right, this is a serious and sensitive matter. At this time, the allegations are part of an ongoing civil case and are being handled through the judicial process. As with any serious allegation against a member, House leadership will continue to monitor developments. That means to watch, correct? It says the news, they attempted to contact Representative Hall for comment on the matter. He had not replied to our messages at the time of this story's publishing. So Fox 24 also reached out to the Crawford County Sheriff's Office, which said no reports had been filed against Hall by his wife. All right. It says Arkansas State Police also said it has not received any reports pertaining to the accusations. Why? Because at a lot of times these are civil matters, so it's a monetary balance or a property balance at play, which means they're going back and forth for who gets what after the divorce. And so it says this man also has filed for re-election on November 4th. So even in the midst of this allegations coming out and him trying to seal the case and cover it up, he's still filing for re-election. All right. So part of this reporting is to show you, the profanation, the wickedness of these people that are in roles of leadership. All right. Let's get some more precepts. All right. So here we are in the blue letter, and this is the book of Hebrews, chapter 12, verse 16. All right, so I'm going to read this, and then we're going to go into some definitions right here through the blue letter, the Strong's information. Okay, lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. All right, so that's got to, you got to be you have to be a man that is lawless, a man that cares not about the ordinances, the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Okay, to sell your birthright. Okay, so one such man is this Brad Hall. Okay, so let's get into the definitions here found in Hebrew 12:16. Lest there be any fornicator. You see that word pornos. Let's get that word first. Strong's Info says, what does it say here? A male prostitute. All right. So he sold his birthright. Pretty much that's prostitution. Okay. A debauchee, libertine, fornicator, whoremonger. All right. So let's look at that word whoremonger, because sometimes you got to go a little deeper. It says a person who has dealings with prostitutes, especially a sexually promiscuous man. All right. So this man, Brad Hall, had dealings with prostitutes because he had hired men come in there and get with his wife. All right. And Brad Hall himself, he is what they call a cuckold. All right. Let's get that definition. We'll come back to this. So yeah, this man is smiling, but he's inwardly, a wolf, man. You know, he's a cuckold. He allows other men. He pays other men, you know, to bang out his wife. Sick, man. All right, so yeah, as I say, he's a cuckold, man, by definition. I say by definition because this is what's written about it. It says a man. Let me.
Cuckold.
So we got the proper pronunciation.
Cuckold.
That's what he is. A man whose wife is sexually unfaithful, regarded as an object of derision. All right. Let's get that word derision. She's an object of derision to him. Contemptuous, ridicule, or mockery. That's what derision means. To hold somebody in derision, right, is to mock that person or to ridicule that person. All right. This is what Esau, Edom, and the Edomites do to the children of the Most High Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You know, we the object of ridicule and mockery. All right. Cuckold of a man, make another man a cuckold by having a sexual relationship with his wife. You see that? It says of a man's wife, make her husband a cuckold by being sexually unfaithful. So it goes both ways. And the origin says from the word cuckoo, right? From the cuckoo's habit of laying its egg in another bird's nest. You see that? You know, the equivalent words in French and other languages apply to both the bird and the adulterer. So yeah, this man is an adulterer, right? You know, he caused his wife to commit adultery, you know, because he's lawless. Like I say, you know, like the scripture says, you know. Back to the blue letter. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person. Profane person. Let's get that.
Strong's G 952. Bebelos. Bebelos.
All right. What does it say at the bottom right there? Heathenish. Heathenish. Wicked. It's like it. A profane person. All right. So Esau is a profane person. A heathen, man. Wicked. All right. Let's go to the biblical usage of that word profane. It says accessible, lawful to be trodden. What's trodden? To be smashed, man. You know, stone, trodden, man, stepped on. Of places, profane. It says unhallowed, right? Common, public place, all right? So all these public places considered what? Profane. Because everybody's stepping on it, man. Like it's not hallowed. It's unhallowed, right? It's not hallowed. It's unhallowed. All right, it's not holy. It says of men, it means ungodly. Yes, so Esau is a very ungodly individual. His progeny, his children are all ungodly, man. That's why they do and commit so much acts like this. And there is no moral, there's no moral to them. All right, there's no boundaries. There's no discipline. Okay. All right. That's why Hebrews 12:16 says, lest there be any fornicator or profane person, that's Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. All right. So this is written to the Israelites, you know, back in these times, because, you know, the Most High, he doesn't want us to be like profane like Esau, man, you know, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. Right. Because Esau, you know, he's pretty much a whore at heart, man. He's unhallowed, man. You know, undisciplined, unkempt. You know, he's not meat for righteousness. Okay, this is the same reason. You know, by following the example of Esau, this is why Jake is in such a predicament, man. You know, doing the same manner of wickedness, man. It says in Jeremiah chapter 5, verse 7, how shall I pardon thee for this? Thy children have forsaken me, and sworn by them that are no gods. When I had fed them to the full, they then committed adultery, and assembled themselves by troops in the harlots' houses. You see that? You know, they got some movies where women is getting train ran on them, and then the woman specifically, her man is sitting there watching. And then the cuckold's hire is called what? A bull. All right. It says in verse 8, they were as fed horses in the morning. Everyone neighed after his neighbor's wife. So you two-thirds out there that's doing this, man. Man, you're gonna have to pay, man, unless you repent, man. Change your ways, man. Change your heart, change your mind, because we are not Esau, man. We're not to be profane, you know. But Jay commit the most wickedness, man. You know. That's why, you know, we have to do better. Verse 9 says, Shall I not visit for these things? That's right. Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is gonna visit this earth, man, for this wickedness. And his judgment begins at us first. You know, his house, his people. All right. Shall I not visit for these things, saith Yahweh? And shall not my soul be avenged on such a nation as this? You know, so this man right here, you know, he's in a position of authority, you know, and this government is primarily ran by the Edomites, right? So a lot of times Jake has followed their example of leadership, right? Or you know, wicked rule, you know, wicked leadership. You know, you see what the military does. They go and step on other people's territories to steal their supplies, and they'll try to justify the war by saying, "Oh, these are terrorists, and they're, you know, doing terrorist activities and whatnot." And this for entertainment purposes only and research, right? All right. So this is all alleged. I gotta say that for the sake of these platforms. But I'm gonna tell you, man. You know, what do you think? What do you think? Domestic gangs do? They just follow in the footsteps of the leadership, man. You know, because they you know, the leadership, they got their, you know, military and whatnot. They wear colors. You know, they separate themselves by rank and division and stuff like that. You know, and like I say, they do everything for expansion of territory and resources, man. You know, that's the wicked. All right, whose desire is as hell. All right, let's get that precept and I'm gonna close it out. This is the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2. I'm gonna begin at the top, man, and we'll get to the point. I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me. And all right, and so that tower is with his word, all right, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And the Lord Yahweh answered me and said, Write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. Right. So these scriptures are what? It's a guide, right? Prophecy, the spirit of prophecy. That's Yahweh Shai. All right. Verse 3, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. All right. So Habakkuk is a prophet. He's a seer. He's writing to us through these books. You know, the books of Habakkuk, as you know, as it is. Okay, for an appointed time. Okay, but at the end it shall speak. So you get the words first. You get the warning first. You get the you get the vision first. It says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it. Right? It's going to take a little time for you to see it. But when you do see it, it'll become clear for you. That's what it's saying. It says, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. It says in verse 4, behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him, but the just shall live by faith. All right. So Esau, he don't live by faith. He just go and take things. He just going, you know, he just roughhouse things. He forced people to do things. All right. He's very, very cunning and crafty, and not in a good way. You see, it says, but the just shall live by faith. Because what? Esau, he lived by what? His sword. Again, that's that living by force, going taking things. All right. Verse 5. Yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man. All right. So his wine is his ideology, the way he thinks, you know, because what is wine called? It's called spirits. Right. So what spirit does the Edomites have on them? Right? The satanic spirit, man. All right. He is a proud man. All right. Neither keepeth at home. So he don't even stay home. He just going everywhere, just, you know, doing what he want to do. It says, who enlargeth his desire as hell, right? So what is desire? A wish, a want, right? So he wants more and more and more, right? That's why he's over there in Venezuela right now. That's why he was over there in Afghanistan for the poppy fields. That's why he was over there in Kuwait for the oil fields. You see a pattern. That's why it says the vision is for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak. And when it says it speak, that means you will see it and you recognize it. All right. Going back to these scriptures. All right. You able to identify who's who. All right. He neither keepeth at home, in verse 5, who enlargeth his desire as hell and is as death. All right. All right. So when I see that and is as death, I think of the man by the last name Oppenheimer, who created the atom bomb that they dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. That's another example. He said, I am become death. He said it in a weird ass way. He looked like Satan when he said it, like, you know what I'm saying? Not the red man with the horns and all that, but, you know, the way he looked and the way he said it. You could just tell that the spirit of Satan was on him heavy. All right. It says, and is as death. All right. And cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. All right. So it's the same spirit on these people, right? Because America's what they call it, a melting pot. It's got a lot of people in there from a lot of different nations. You know, people are like nowadays, you know, not wanting to come here because of the ICE and all that, you know, and the cruel Lord that's over this place. All right. But yes, yeah, he heapeth unto him all people. All right. You know, he doing it through trade too, trade negotiations and whatnot. It says, verse 6, shall not all these, so all those things that we just went over, shall not all these take up a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. So we know this man is a thief in the earth. All right. How long? How long? It says, and to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. All right. So this man is covered in his pleasures and his wealth. He ladeth himself with thick clay. All right. I'm gonna end it right there. You can go to Habakkuk 2 and read the rest of it, man. It's powerful. You know, I'm gonna give all praises, honor, and glory once again to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakahakodash. All right. So, Lord's willing, this has been edifying in the spirit, man. Until the next one. Peace, salutation to the hopefully elect. Shalom.